Welcome, everyone, to A Mexican and a Redneck Follow the World. We're your hosts and surrogate fathers, Juan and Ben. Today, we'll be discussing how to be a man when you don't have a father around. Ben?
No
How-
padre,
No,
no good.
no padre, no good. Yes.
No bueno. No padre, no bueno.
No bueno.
I've been learning conversational Spanish. I don't know if you know that or not.
I see. We just had a conversation in Spanish, so I believe you.
It's pretty limited. So if you walk up to me speaking Spanish, I'm going to stare at you
Yeah.
and say thanks. Or gracias.
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 Yep. Yep. It's redneck Spanish. That's the best you're going to get from me.
I had a man, one of my of a good friend of mine. They were taking the Spanish and they were what was it, the Rosetta Stone or something like that, and she had a thick Southern accent, and it was like the accent was getting in the way,
Oh, yeah.
so she would just get louder and louder and louder, but something, and it was like, it doesn't help if you just get louder. If you're saying it wrong, you're saying it wrong.
Volume doesn't mean better.
Yeah, volume does not improve your speech.
But you're bilingual.
Yeah.
You're fluent in both languages.
Yeah, fluent. Yeah, fully bilingual.
Do you think in Spanish or English?
I've had that. Yeah. So when I dream in Spanish. Like if I have people in my life who I speak Spanish to, in my dreams, I speak in Spanish to them. But then people that I speak English to, I speak to them in English. So like I'm fully bilingual, and you know.
In dream world, you're
yeah,
bilingual too.
Yeah.
Wow,
It's crazy. I never realized that. Like my wife, she's bilingual, but she thinks in English. She can't think in Spanish.
Weird.
Yeah.
It takes me a minute to recall the words. So you'll have thoughts,
If I switch over, I go to thinking. I'm thinking in Spanish.
but you're thinking in English right now.
Right now, well, because I'm speaking English, I'm thinking in English. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go. So we just solved the mysteries of the world.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
And that's how
Everyone.
you become a man.
In
That's
the
how you
world.
become a man when you don't have a father around.
That's it.
You think in English or you think in Spanish.
That's
Depending on the language you're
This is a horrible waste of time. This conversation's terrible. Nobody's going to listen. It's okay. No. So how do you become a man when you don't have a father around?
This is tough, man. This is tough because we both you and I had fathers, but at the same time, I guess in a way we can say that for periods of our lives they weren't present or they weren't
Sure.
around. My dad was always there, but just because you have a male figure in your life doesn't necessarily mean that he's a father to you. So one thing I know and then even for myself, I'll say this: there was segments of my life where I didn't want anything to do with my dad. I was like, I hate to say this, but I felt like you have nothing to teach me,
Oh,
which
yeah.
That's, that might be the awkward teenage phase, which every guy goes through, is like where you think you know everything. And then when somebody asks you a question, your response is like, I know, which it bothers me now.
Yes. I know. No, I can relate to what you're saying though, because there's a level of, especially when you're young, that teens, early 20s, you're kind of angry,
Yeah.
because you're not just a kid where you don't really know what's going on. You're just like, oh, something's not right. Then you become a teenager and you're like, well, wait a second. My buddy's dad's taking him hunting and fishing. And you can see that, oh, well, his dad's home all the time. Well, my dad's off driving a truck, and I understood why he was doing it, to make money, but at the same time, it still doesn't change. You just feel the way you feel.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those feelings of, I know, or I don't want anything to do with you, they're really propelled by anger.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of a twofer. You're getting two gold nuggets of truth today. The quick answer to how to be a man when you don't have a father around, it really is, you need to find a mentor.
Yeah.
If you don't have a father around, you need to find a place where you want to be in life. And this is different for all of us. I know that I can't know everybody's situation, but locally, the places we would go would be maybe a church or a synagogue, some type of religious setting. There are volunteer places you could go. There are jobs. Jobs are a great place to find a mentor. You see the way someone lives and you look at their life. And this is how you pick a mentor. You see the way someone's life is going. And let's say you want to know how to be a better dad. And you see a guy who's a good dad. if he's a good dad and you're observing, he's playing with his kids, he's being nice, he's doing things you wish your dad would do with you, as the recipient, you have to take those first steps to walk up to him and go, "Hi, my name is Ben. I know you don't know me," or at least in my situation, but I know you don't know me, but I love the way you play with your children. I do not have that in my life. Will you please mentor me? If he is a man worth his weight in salt, I'll say it. You don't like it, find me.
Yeah.
You know, but we can talk about it. But if he's a man worth his weight in salt, he'll go, "Oh, okay, I'll mentor you." He might not be what you need, but at least he can kind of get you going and get you in the right path.
Yeah. A good man that's doing the right things is going to love that. To have somebody else acknowledge is like, wow, I like the way you're living your life, and I want to live my life the way you're living your life. Can you teach me? If somebody came to me and be like, yeah, we can make some time. Yeah.
Absolutely. If nothing else, let's just have one sit down to get started. Maybe I'm not the right guy. Maybe this other person would be great for you.
Right. And that guy may not be the guy that you bond arms with for the rest of your life. It may be for just that season of life that helps you get over that anger, that hurt, that whatever challenges presenting in your life. But it starts with that. Because in my life, I haven't had one guy that's mentored me. I had multiple men who've come into my life, and they've provided that wise counsel in my life where I see them like, man, you have the life that I want to live. And it starts with like, hey, can I buy you a cup of coffee?
Oh yeah.
You know, and that's how it starts. And you just having that conversation. And then sometimes, there's been times through that conversation where I realize like, oh, you're going to be really helpful in this particular skill set. But then, and the other things, I'm like, yeah, I'm not really going to take your advice because that's not your expertise, but I appreciate your counsel.
That's good advice, because that's not every guy is going to give you everything you need. You'll probably have to find multiple. And I assume it's the same way for women.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, because I don't have a woman's perspective, but I would offer this advice to women also. Go up, initiate that conversation. Like, don't be so entitled that you expect them to come to you. Like, don't expect them to go, "Oh, I saw you sitting over there. I felt like you needed a mentor."
Mm-hmm.
I would never walk up to somebody and say that.
Me as a busy father of 4 with a career and a family, if somebody wants to be mentored, yes, I will make time for you, but I am not going to pursue you. I have goals. I have tasks. I have
a wife to pursue
that I am pursuing.
Yeah.
Yes. So if you want to learn from me, listen to my podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you want to sit down for some coffee, make some time, let me know, like, hey, can you sit down here? And if I'm able to, yeah, I'll do that. So you got to expect that too. Like, if a man is living a life you want to live, they're not necessarily going to have the free time to teach you and guide you. But if you can get some time with that man, take advantage of it, and don't waste their time. That's one thing that I learned. I remember this is in my early 20s, and there was a gentleman, very successful man. He was great in sales, and he was actually like willing to mentor me. He's like, hey, it's like, take me under his wing, stuff like that. And I made that mistake of wasting his time one time.
Ooh, that's rough.
I went to him. I wasn't prepared. I didn't have my notebook. I didn't have, he knew, like, you could tell. It's like, you're just here because I invited you, not because you want to be here. You're wasting my time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that was harsh.
Oh yeah.
That was harsh. I was like,
He said that to you?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, that's awesome.
He let me know.
That's good.
And I was like, and I learned.
You needed that.
No, yeah, as a man. And you got to realize that too. You got to be willing to say that. I was like, wow, that took balls for him to say that to me.
But you needed to be knocked down a peg.
Yes. Because I was like, here's this man who's willing to take his time, his precious time that he has, and then put it into me. And I just said, like, oh, that's nice.
Because at the time, you didn't realize how precious your time was.
Right.
Right. And then, so that's the first one. The second little nugget, I got to get it out there. It's so important. You're not going to move forward and become that father you want to be until you forgive your father who wasn't around. You have to. Yeah. Or who was neglectful or abusive or whatever. I don't know everyone's story, but that's the thing. You got to forgive your father or you will struggle the rest of your life to move forward.
Man, forgiveness is such a big thing. And you are absolutely right. I mean, I feel like, the worst hurts in life to carry are the justified hurts.
Oh,
when
yeah.
you're able to justify the reason why you're hurt, that you're destroying yourself because you're giving life to that hurt in your life. You're allowing that to grow.
Your life force is based on building that hurt.
Yes. And it's almost like you have a garden, but it's full of weeds. And you're like, well, I gotta take care of these weeds. Like, no, you got to get rid of the weeds.
Right.
Knock them out.
Plant some veggies.
It starts with forgiveness. Forgiveness is when you look at a person and you say, hey, I acknowledge that you are a human being, flawed human being, just like me.
Yep.
You did your best. You made some mistakes, but I forgive you for the mistakes that you did to me, for the hurt. And then you release that. You're releasing that instead of carrying that. Because a lot of times we carry that hurt and we think like, oh, I'm not going to forgive them. Why? The only person you're hurting is yourself, and you're carrying that. And that person may be completely clueless.
Oh, they may have thought they were a great dad.
Yeah.
They have no clue.
I can speak this from my personal experience. When I talk to my parents, they think like, oh, no, we were great parents. I was like, yeah, sure. Okay. But I've forgiven them.
Oh, yeah.
So when they tell me, yeah, we were great parents, yeah, you were. You were because based on the knowledge and the expertise that you had, you were great parents.
Yeah.
Based on what you knew.
Absolutely. And it's so important. And if you don't have a parent around to go to and say, this thing hurt, you did this thing and that bothered me, just say it out loud. Sometimes I'll make my daughter just say stuff out loud. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, do you feel better? She's like, kinda. And I'm like, well, yeah, because saying it out loud, if nothing else, maybe your father's passed away and they neglected you or beat you or whatever, and be like, Dad, I forgive you for beating me or neglecting me. Whoo, just saying those words from your mouth into the air. I don't know how it works. I don't know why it works, but it makes you feel good. Or maybe writing it down and burning the paper or something. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Whatever you got to do, but there are things you can do to really help do that. And you of course, how to be a man when you don't have a father around, of course, is to listen to our podcast.
Yeah,
that's your first step. Yeah. You've already taken the first step.
We are your surrogate fathers.
We are.
Yeah.
We are. And we do love you, really. Yeah. And we really are proud of you.
We really are.
We're amazed that anyone would listen to us talk from Juan's shed.
Yeah. No, and we really do hope that as far as like this becomes an avenue for that. I mean, yeah, you might be the guy out there that just you grew up without the father, or just your dad was there but wasn't really present. And our goal here is just to give you some sound advice. Here we are, we're two guys who basically have overcome that. My dad was present, but he had his issues. I've forgiven my dad. And then another thing too, I've forgiven myself.
Yeah.
For that anger, for that hate, for that everything that I had that I carried. Because that's the other thing. Yeah, you got to forgive that person that did that hurt to you. But then you got to be able to forgive yourself for carrying that hurt.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like...
You got to clean the garden,
you
like
gotta
you
clean
said.
It up, man.
It's such a good analogy.
Yeah.
Clean the weeds and all the rocks and all the crap out of the garden. Yeah. And... put the good stuff in, the fertilizer and the veggies.
You got to go for that root. You knock those roots out, and it's like it's such a good analogy, like the garden of your heart. What is it that you're carrying in there? Are you carrying good, healthy plants, or are you carrying weeds?
Right. And to answer the topic of the podcast, how to be a man when you don't have a father around, you got to surround yourself with men you admire. You can surround yourself with men you don't admire or other people who just make you feel good, but going out and partying and drinking with your buddies makes you feel good, but it's not necessarily going to help you be a better man.
No, it's not.
Running around, getting in trouble with, some people do it with a gang, unfortunately, and that never leads to, find old gang members. I dare you.
You don't find them.
And if you do, they're not saying it was the best time of my life. Yeah. Because they somehow managed to survive, and they're on the other side saying, find some good people to be around.
Anytime you do find an old gang member, it's somebody who has been able to break free away from that.
Oh yeah.
And if like it's somebody who's like they've taken the time to learn from that experience, overcome that experience, and now they're becoming teachers of that experience.
Oh yeah.
That's the one thing as
They're
far as
amazing.
like, yeah, and to the younger generation out there, that I would say, if you're going through struggles in life, don't look at them as like, man, why me? Look at it as like, man, the world, the universe, it's given me an opportunity to learn a lesson that I'm going to be able to share with others so they don't have to go through this lesson. There's been many things in my life that happened to me as a young man that I look back now and I'm like, that's why I went through that. I went through that so that my kids don't have to go through that. I went through that so that my brothers don't have to go through that.
Right.
And it's like when you make a mistake is not always necessarily a failure, but is an opportunity to teach and help somebody else grow so they don't go through the same mistake.
Thank you for listening to A Mexican and a Redneck Father of the World. We love you and we're proud of you.